What is going on, you two people? Neo Cards and Comics here. Today to talk about a massive trade that I made this past weekend at the monthly Canton Card Show. A little local show, about 50, 60 tables. They run it every single month. It rotates with a show in Hartville, Ohio. A little bit bigger, but it's about 50 to 80 tables depending on the time of year. They have some expansion stuff. But it's my local show. I go pretty much every single chance that I can. And I've, gotten to know a lot of the various dealers that set up there now. And I have relationships with them. And that stuff kind of pays off when you're working deals with people. So today, well, this was Saturday, recording this on Memorial Day, I just want to recap a pretty big deal that I made. This was a $2,000 plus trade. And once again, it was one of those things that kind of came out of nowhere. The dealer, Christian, who I've had a long relationship with now, probably over a year at least, had posted a card that he had picked up at Dallas on IG. It was a cool looking card. I was like, man, that's a really cool looking card. And then I really honestly didn't think much of it. Was at the show on Saturday, was walking around, did a couple laps, nothing was really catching my eye. And then I had, in my case, I keep a separate section of trade stuff versus, I usually bring most of my stuff with me as a just in case, or at least the majority of my stuff. But I do have a little section that's like, if someone wants to work a deal, I just pull that handful of cards out and say, like, here's my trade stuff, unless it's something really crazy. Then I dig into the back of the case. And I said, I was at his table and I was looking at his stuff, and that card was in there, and I was like, man, that's just a really cool looking card. And I stepped away, I did a little research on it, like real quick, just to see if like any had sold, what were listed on eBay, etc. And his price was a little high, but I think that he knew that as well, at least on his sticker. And I walked back up and I said, hey, are you interested in potentially dealing that? And he said, I'll take a look. So I handed him my stack. He picked out some stuff, and we'll kind of run through what went down here. So first off, the card in question, once again, if you follow me on social media, I've posted this quite a few times already. It's an absolute stunner. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I might just tuck this one away, to be honest with you. It is a 1999 Stadium Club Cosigners PSA 8 on card Jerry Rice, Randy Moss auto. Absolutely insane card, in my opinion. Just a nuts card. So he had it tagged at 2,700. We'll set this down right there. Give a little zoomy zoom. So he had it tagged at 2,700. Last real comp was from 3 months ago at 2,500 for a BGS 9. And we both agreed that prices probably haven't moved a ton on a card like this in that case since then. So we agreed on about a 2,200-ish trade value on it. And then he went through my stuff and picked out. So this is what I gave up for it. And I'll throw a photo up on the screen here just for reference. I should be able to do that, no problem. The main key piece was my rookie LeBron Topps Chrome PSA 8. That was what took up about half the value of the trade value. And then the second big piece was the Ja Morant Noir auto. That put us at about $1,800 trade value right there. I'd actually just gotten an offer on the Ja on eBay that morning for $700, which the last comp was $750, so it was relatively in line with that number. So we valued that at $700. We valued the LeBron at, I think, like $1,075 or $1,100 or something like that. I forget the exact number. But those two put us at about $1,800. So we had about a $400 gap to bridge. I threw in the Jose Ramirez, or this was stuff that he picked out. The Jose Ramirez Topps Dynasty, we put at a $250 value. The Nick Chubb, there was some recent comps on. That's a Panini 1 rookie. I think we put that at like $125, $130, and that was really close, honestly. And then he picked out the Denzel Ward as just kind of a sweetener. It's like a $20 card. And then that put us right at or maybe slightly above. I forget the numbers exactly, but we were within $25 or $50 one way or the other of $2,200. And then we executed the deal. So for me, the reason that I did this was, and I kind of talked about this before on a recent video, is trying to move off of cards that I am a little bit concerned that have potential room to go down. Really, the only two big cards that I gave up here were the LeBron and the Ja. And as much as I love the Ja auto, it is a second-year auto. It's a nice auto. Noir is a very slept-on product. They make very nice-looking cards. And I was worried about his stuff backsliding. I was probably going to end up accepting that $700 offer on eBay for it if I didn't move off of it. That's about what I had in it. I had traded for that plus a little cash at a Card Collector 2 trade night a few months ago. So that would have basically washed me back out of it. The 700 cash, that's about what I had into it. Maybe even a little bit less than that. So after eBay fees, I might have took a very slight loss on that, but I felt that it would have been worth it to get the cash out of it. But to be able to trade it is obviously even better. The LeBron PSA 8, yeah, it's my LeBron Topps Chrome. I wasn't dying to give it up, but it was also a card that I was willing to move. It is a card that I do feel like has, and it has come down a lot. I definitely lost my ass on that card. I purchased that for $2,200 and I traded it away at like $1,100 or $1,200 value. But, you know, those are the breaks sometimes. You can't change that. It is what it is. But I do have concerns about that card potentially going lower. So that was part of the reason why I said, okay, if I could get good trade value on it, let's just move off of it. That card is a dime a dozen in all reality. When I bought it, I was in love with it. But times change. I actually like the refractor LeBron Topps Chromes, the non-rookies, that I have better than that card. And that is a card that I will be able to find whenever I want one. I will be able to find a LeBron Topps Chrome anytime that I want one. Same with the Ja Morant second-year auto. I love Ja, and I have, it's back hiding in the corner. You guys can't see it because I zoomed in. I have the Contenders rookie auto. So I have a nice Ja auto already. And then the other stuff was just Cleveland stuff, which, and I'll get into what, I'm going to make some assumptions on what his perspective was on this. So for me, I was giving up cards that were fairly easily reattainable, especially the big one in the LeBron Topps Chrome. The Jose Ramirez Topps Dynasty, I have the Chief Wahoo patch of that card since I acquired that first Jose Ramirez, and I bought that card for maybe $100. The Nick Chubb RPA, I bought that for like $30. I've had that card forever. And that's a card that I could find anytime that I want one. And then the Denzel Ward, like I said, was just kind of a throw-in. So the only real two cards that I gave up were the Ja and the LeBron. Now, value-wise, if you add up what I have into them, probably gave up about $3K because I was into the LeBron for $2,200. But, that is what it is. My thought process was consolidate this stuff down into an absolute banger. And in my opinion, this is an absolute banger. This is not something that comes up all the time. There's not even very many on eBay. This is, I think, pop 20 total on the PSA population report. And then actually, since I traded for this on Saturday, on Sunday night, a BGS 9510 ended at, I think, 5,600. So I haven't sat down and done all the crazy math on it, but I feel like that backs up the comp that we had on this and maybe even raises this up a little bit. I don't know. Curious for your guys and girls' thoughts on that down below. A BGS 9510 did 5,500. What would that make you value a PSA 8 at? Some of that stuff always gets a little weird. A card like this, I would basically value a PSA 8 at raw if a raw one sold. PSA 9 I would give a slight premium for, just given the age of the card and just to have it slabbed and authenticated and stuff. But this is just not something that comes up very often. And like I talked about with some friends at the show, this card might go down a little bit. I don't see a card like this going down very much. If things go really, really south, whereas some of the stuff that I gave away, I believe could. Now, from his perspective, why would the dealer make this trade. And I'm going to make some assumptions here. My general thought is, from his perspective, the stuff that I gave up is going to be way easier for him to cash out on than this card. Moving 2K cards plus at local shows aren't always the easiest thing in the world. You got to kind of go to a medium or plus show to usually move stuff like this. You get to like 200, 150 tables, 100 tables, 150 tables, 200 tables plus is where you get more people that traffic in mid to upper end cards. I'm going to put this at, like a mid end card. It's not, not like a $50,000 card or anything crazy like that, but it's a nice mid end card. That stuff can be tough to move at a local show. Whereas this stuff, what I gave up, the Denzel Ward, he'll be able to move super easy. It's a $20 card. The Nick Chubb and the Jose Ramirez also be able to move super easy. Remember, we are in the Cleveland area. He sets up at a ton of different Cleveland shows. It'd be very easy for him to cash out on those and or trade out of those if he wanted to. Ja Morant, Ja stuff is always fairly liquid. And then same with LeBron Topps, Chrome's rookies. Even though the prices are coming down on them, they are an extremely liquid card. You can move that card very easily in trade and or for cash. And he also got, from everything that I was told and what he explained to me as well, he got a really good deal on the co-signers. I don't know what he paid for it, but he said, and a few other people backed up, that he got a really solid deal on the co-signers in Dallas. So he probably had a lot of room on it as well. I don't know how much, but I don't really care. I'm happy. He's happy. That's all that really matters. So for him, he probably viewed this as, obviously made the trade. This is one where I think we both walk away feeling pretty good about it. I consolidate down into a bigger, nicer card, and then he gets more liquid inventory that he will be able to sell off of versus having everything tied up in this card and probably come out ahead on the lot as a whole, based off of what he put into this. I don't know. Let's make up a number and say that he got this for $1,500. He'd easily be able to move the stuff above for, $2K probably easily. I get $1,000. I had actually posted the LeBron for sale a couple places for $1,200, and I probably would have moved it at $1,100 cash. No one wanted to get there, but I got plenty of $1,000 offers. So that's a card that could be moved for $1,000 super easily. So that's the deal. $2,200-ish trade, and I bring home kind of a monster that I was not. Once again, that's why you go to these shows. You never know what you are going to run into and what you could potentially trade into. And if you're remotely interested in a card, just ask. You never know. The dealer you may have something in that pile that dealer really wants, just because it doesn't make sense to you. Like, man, I would never do this deal. Like, if the roles were reversed, I would not make this trade. But I understand why he wanted to make this trade, because it made sense for him. So keep that in mind. You don't always know what the person across from you is thinking. It never hurts to ask. It never hurts to slide your case across the table and say, hey, I'm interested in this. Is there anything in here that, catches your eye? You never know what's going to catch that person's eye. So I end up with the co-signers. Not sure what I'm going to do with this. I know that this would be a very valuable trade chip. At minimum, to move into something bigger, perhaps. I may also just tuck this one away, honestly. As most of the time is the case, you trade for these cards with no real attachment to them, or purchase them or whatever, and then suddenly you look at them on your desk for a couple days, and you're like, oh, I'm becoming attached. And that's starting to happen with this, the more and more that I look at it, because it's had a prominent place on my desk since I got it. So not sure what I'll end up doing with this yet. For now, I'm definitely going to hold on to it. They are fairly rare, and it is one of, I was actually looking through some other listings for co-signers on eBay. There's a bunch of Tim Couch ones, which are kind of funny. The only other one that's a banger, I think, is a Marino Manning, maybe? I forget who it is. There's a big quarterback one that has two awesome quarterbacks on it. But to me, this is probably the second best one, if not the best one. I mean, in my opinion, those are the two best wide receivers to ever play the game. And to get both of them on card, and it's a Moss second year, is just really unique. So I might hang on to this one for a while. This one might get tucked into the old PC. Absolute monster card. Very excited to have it. So once again, get out to your local shows. You never know what you are going to run into. And don't be afraid to take a loss on a card. A lot of people would not have traded the LeBron away because they were so underwater on it. They would have sat on it. In this case, I think it was a pretty smart move. So those are my 2 words of advice for you. And remember, they always let you buy them back. So like, comment, subscribe. Catch you guys and girls on the next one. Peace.